warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. For those who don't know me, for those in the attendees room, maybe, my name is Vita Kurniawati, and I'm the director of Embrio, a collaborative network under the Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science University. Before I start, I'd like to welcome our Dean, the Dean of Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science, IBB University, Dr. Luki Adrianto, our special guest lecturers, Dr. Adibi Rahiman from University of Malaya, and Dr. Maria Mojina Gonzalez. Is that right? I hope
Yes.
I pronounce your name from Western University of Philippines. Our dearest summer course participants who still keep their spirit and enthusiasm to follow this session until now. And my colleagues, our dear colleague and student, and also dear participant in the attendees room. It's my pleasure to greet you this afternoon, and I hope you all in a good condition and happiness. Embrio this year running the 5th summer course. So this year is our 5th program, and this is conducted annually. And for this year, for this year, the program is run from the 14th of September until the 5th of October 2020. And this public lecture is actually part of the summer program. The summer programs consist of 14 sessions, which is divided into 7 classes. And in each class, they have a different topic ranging from aquaculture, and then capture fisheries, aquatic product technology, aquatic resource management, marine science, and then fisheries across the Southeast Asian region that we have today. And last but not least, we have elective topics. So far, we've done 5 classes, and today is the sixth class, and the last class will be conducted next Monday. And today is a special class because it's open not only for summer course, but also for the participant in the form of webinar. And then as we have today is there is about 35 participants in the panelist room, calling in from different regions like Malaysia, Philippines, Turkey, and also Indonesia. And Indonesia is not only from Bogor, but also other city and islands. And we're even happier because we have a Dr. Luki Adrianto as our dean to open this open lecture. So without doing any further, I'm going to invite Dr. Luki to deliver his speech. Pak Luki, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Vita. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Very good afternoon, everybody. My distinguished guests, especially the guest lecturer, Dr. Maria Gonzalez from the Western Philippine University of Palawan. Nice to meet you, Dr. Maria, and welcome to our virtual room on the Embrio summer course of the Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science, IPB University. Also, I would like to pass my regards and say hello to Dr. Adibi Rahman from the University of Malaysia. Nice to meet you, Pak. Selamat siang. Salam kenal dengan saya, Pak Rahman ya, Pak Adibi.
Yes.
And
thank you.
also Dr. Vita Rukmanti, the director of the Embrio, one of our center of excellence in IB universities regarding to the how explore our networks in marine biodiversity management, not only in Indonesia, hopefully, but also in the other regions, especially actually in the ASEAN region. And also Dr. Iksan Ahmad Fauzi, the chairperson of the Embrio summer course today. Thank you, Pak Iksan, for your a good job to organize and to mobilize the student across the ASEAN countries to join with the our Embrio summer course. And also all of the students of the summer course, nice to meet you again. We met before in the opening of this program last week. And also I would like to say hello to all of the participants of the Embrio summer course through the webinar platform. I would like to express 3 points in this opportunity. The first of those, I would like to express our thanks to God, Almighty God, that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, that we still got some opportunity to join with these very important events in Embrio summer course. We got already still healthy condition and other situation that we can able to join during this still uncertain ends of the pandemic COVID-19. And secondly, I would like to also express to all of the participants that especially this topic, special topic on fisheries is also part of our concern. Thank you, Dr. Maria and Dr. Adibi, to share the situation of fisheries activities, especially in the Philippines and Malaysia later on, and maybe Dr. Vita and other lecturers of the Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science of APB University also share the situation in our country regarding to the fisheries, especially during the pandemic, because this is also part of the challenge of the fisheries sector related to this pandemic. Why? For the Indonesian case, for example, I would like to inform you that during the first semesters of and the second semester of 2020, we have a bit slowed down growth of the fisheries. In the first quarter of fisheries development, we have a bit positive growth on a bit 3%, something like that. But then in the second quarter, we decrease our growth is decreasing on the minus 0.332, something like that. Now the challenge is that the next quarter, so the next third and fourth quarter of this year, and then the next year. This is also part of our challenge to deal with the situation of pandemic. But what is the effect to the fisheries? So I do hope that from this special course on fisheries activity in Malaysia and Philippines, and also in Indonesia, or the other country that start from the ASEAN and also Turkey that Ibu Vita mentioned. During this class also we can share the situation of fisheries in each country, especially regarding to the pandemic. I myself also would like to talk about this in the next Sunday, 11 October, in the session of maybe Dr. IDB and Dr. Maria Gonzalez aware with the ASEAN FEN, ASEAN Fisheries Education Networks, one of the networks that we built from the dean and all of the chairperson of the university which has Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science, or which has study program in fisheries science in ASEAN. So we have now about 15 members from Philippines, from Indonesia, from Malaysia. In Malaysia, Dr. ADB is led by University of Malaysia Terengganu, for example, and also with the Malaya and also USM, UPM, as well the Islamic University of Malaysia. In Philippines, also we have, as I mentioned, the members is including Visayas University, UP Visayas, and then also the Palawan State. And the last, I think the new ones member, I forgot the name of the university, but they 3 or 4 university in Philippines also join in our networks. So I forgot Western Pacific, Western Philippine University has already been the member or not, but if not, Dr. Maria, I think is very happy to welcome you to join with the network. So we are the networks of university engaged in fisheries and marine science. So this is also very important to have some networks. Also from Thailand with the Kasetsat University, and Vietnam with what's that, the in Da Nang, yeah, Da Nang University, and also the Nan Trang University, and also in Vietnam. As well, also the other country like Indonesia, we have IPB and Samratulangi University, Gajah Mada, and other university like Diponegoro and Brawijaya University, as well as the Airlangga University in Surabaya. So we have around 15 members, but we also welcome to other members with the objective of how to connect the science development of the fisheries science with very case studies in ASEAN, because ASEAN is very unique, yeah, in the context of fisheries science. Of course, the root of science is same, but when we talk about the fisheries condition in our country, so we have a unique situation in the context of especially small scale fisheries. So using the networks, we develop the new quote unquote science of the fisheries, for example, especially the tropical uh, uh, tropical countries like this. So in this regard, I will have opportunity to talk about this fisheries development and fisheries situation in the pandemic during that seminar next Sunday, October 11, and this special course I think is part of what's that? Uh, Introductions of the situation of ASEAN fisheries. That's why that I'm very happy to follow this class. But unfortunately, I have a class after this on 1:30. Dr. Maria and Dr. Adibi, I'm sorry to not able to follow your course, but I do. I would like to have this one. So, but Vita, please make sure that I get the record of the
Oh
Dr.
yeah,
and Dr.
yeah.
Maria class so that I can
Okay.
understand the situation of Malaysia and Philippines right now. That's the second one, that this situation is very in time in the context of how to share our fisheries condition in our countries. And for the student also very important also that we can have some opportunity to discuss the situation and fisheries from the perspective of the student, the perspective of the millennial generation, because I believe that your age of uh, was that millennial age of your student now is actually
Sorry.
okay. I just put
Yeah.
this on mute of this student. Sorry to do that. Yes, again, the young generation, millennial generation is very important in the context of next step and next future fisheries, especially with the context of smart and precise fisheries, smart and precise aquacultures, and something like that. And that we have to change our mindset that fisheries science is already changed. So we have to adapt with the context of that. And last but not least, the third point of that I would like to express in this opportunity is to uh, uh, express our grateful thanks, especially to Dr. Iksan Fauzi, the chairperson of Embrio Summer Course, for very wonderful and very good job to again to organize this event under the coordination of Dr. Vita Rukmanti as the director of the Embrio Summer Course. And on behalf of the Faculty of Physics and Marine Science, I'd like to express our thanks and congratulations to all of the Embrio staff to get this opportunity happens. And also I would like to again thank you to Dr. Maria and Dr. Adipi for your times, your opportunity, your thinking, your anything to share, to be shared to our student here, especially in the uh, student of the Embryo Summer Course, and also for the other participants of this Embryo Summer Course through the webinar platform. And on behalf of the Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science, and on behalf of IPP University as well, I would like to then officially open this special session I call Open Lecture Program under the Embryo Summer Course, the fifth Embryo Summer Course of the Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science IPB universities today by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Dr. Vita. Thank you all of the students. Thank you, Dr. Fauzi, Dr. Mary, and Dr. IDB. Have a nice lectures, and I do believe that this discussion will be very beneficial to us to understand our fisheries activities, especially during this pandemic, and of course how to share the solution of the fisheries for the future situation. I would like to also express my apology to not to join this lectures after this, because I have another lecture schedule 1:30 for the master class in other study program. Thank you very much, and have a nice again summer course for the 6th course of this 5th Embrio summer course 2020. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Pak Luki, for the opening speech. Now we're moving to the main session. We have Dr. Ihsan Fauzi as the moderator. He is the faculty member of in IPB University, to be specific, in the Department of Aquaculture. And his expertise is actually in fish nutrition. He's also the chairperson of the organizing committee for this summer course program. Without any further ado, I'd like to invite Dr. Ihsan to open the lecture session. Dr. Ihsan, the time is yours.
So apparently there's a problem with the microphone. So
okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I leave this room. Sorry for that, Pak Fauzi, Pak Bu Vita, and other. See you then.
Terima
stay
kasih.
Healthy, stay happy.
Thank you.
Yeah? Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
This is really it's really good to be able to see you all again in a good condition, despite the COVID that actually quite worrying in Indonesia, because there's an increase of number of people infected. But well, I mean, we need to be able to stay positive and stay healthy, and hopefully we all gonna it will eventually it will go, all the COVID will be go on, just need to stay healthy. And when I'm designing this lecture, I was wondering, like, the Southeast Asia region is one of like active region in terms of fisheries and aquaculture, except comparing to China. But in the world, Southeast Asia is considered as the second active region in terms of fisheries and aquaculture. And then we all know that we have a lot of countries that produce and also consume seafood product. We all know that at least in the Southeast Asia, we have like Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia is one of the high producer seafood. But the thing is, we don't really know each other. I mean, I know about my what being produced in my country, and then what's the things that need to address, but I don't really recognize seafood products from other countries such as the Philippines and the Malaysia. And I think, like Paluki said, that ocean is kind of like, there's no border in ocean. So I think if you want to have a good relationship in terms of fisheries and aquaculture, we first need to get know to each others. And then I think that this is this lecture series is one of way to get know the other products or other activities in terms of fisheries and aquaculture. In this lecture, we invite several lecturers from our IPB University to make an introduction about fisheries and marine science in Indonesia. And then we also design open seminars, general study, to invite Dr. Maria and then Dr. Adibi to tell the stories about aquaculture and fisheries in their countries. And I think this is one good start that can be a good foundation for our next collaborative activity. Maybe in the future we can design something that we can do together. But first, before that, we will have two lectures that will conducted by Dr. Maria Moena Gonzalez and Dr. Adibi M. Nur. And for the first lectures is about fisheries and aquaculture activities in the Philippines. And it will be presented by before we'll hear about the Dr. Maria presentation. We'll give a little bit introduction about
infographic. O ba daw ko, di na ko graphics ha.
okay. Dr. Maria Mahone Gonzalez is one of my lab mate in the Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology. She was graduate from Bachelor of Science from University of Philippine Visayas in Iloilo, and then graduate from Master of Science in Fishery major in Aquaculture in the same university, I think, in the Iloilo. And then she also get Monbusho scholarship from Japan government, and then in her PhD research, she researched about the effect of towering for the fish. And Dr. Maria has also have a lot of research activities, such as the recent one is probably about growth and lipid levels of tetracelmis, nanochloropsis, and then also conduct a research in the live grouper, in the taurine and cysteamine, and then the use of plant and fruit waste products as phytogenic feeds, and so on. There's a lot of research in it. I cannot, it will take times to mention one by one, but I think from the background, we know that Dr. Maria is focusing in aquaculture, but also competent in the fisheries sector. Okay, maybe to make it shorter, I will let Dr. Maria to present her lecture about fisheries and aquaculture activities in the Philippines. Okay, Moji. Okay, you can start now, Dr. Maria.
Okay. Wait. Okay. Is it?
Yeah, I think it's on.
Okay. Wait, I will just.
Can you share screen?
Okay. Okay. Is it okay now?
Not yet. Maybe.
Okay now? All panelists, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then. Can you see it?
No, not yet. Maybe wait for a moment.
Okay.
Not yet.
Sometimes you take a time to.
Oh. It's not coming. It's not coming, the screen.
Yeah, it's not. I cannot see it. Yeah, I
Can
have.
you? You have the slide, maybe.
Yes, I have the slide.
Okay.
Just need to download.
The one I sent you this afternoon, is it that one?
Yeah, I will try to share it. So you just give me a sign if you want to move to. Okay, can you see it?
Yep, I can see it.
Yeah, we'll try to. There you go.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yes.
So, good afternoon, everyone. So, I'm going to present today my presentation entitled Fisheries and Aquaculture in the Philippines and Updates. So, most of my data in my presentations comes from FAO and the Department of Agriculture in the Philippines, and also from Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, and also Philippine Statistic Authority. So some data are 2018, and most latest that I can get is early first quarter of 2020. So as we go along, I will explain those data that I have gathered. Okay, Iksan, can you next, please? So as all we know, Philippines is a part of Southeast Asia. Next.
Okay, here.
Okay, next. Ah. Okay, so so in total, Philippines has 17 regions. It's composed of 17 regions. So can you enter? And then fisheries in the Philippines is considered a center of marine diverse biodiversity and one of the top fisheries also. Next, we have also 80% body of water, and we were the fifth longest coastline. Next. And we are a distant water fishing nation. So do you know what is DWF means? So it means that, like for example, here you can see here in the green, the Mimaropa one. So some of the fisher folks here can fish in the West Visayas region, and some fisher folks from West Visayas region also fished in the Mimaropa region. That's in terms of regional, but in terms of country, sometimes we most of our commercial fisher folks go as far as China or northern to go fishing. Next. So we also host the highest number of marine species. So guess how much? So we have around 250 species of fish per square area. Next. And our marine resources is valued at around 9 billion US dollars per year. Next. So we are the center of marine biodiversity because we have a lot of first records of different species of fish and new species of fish found in the not only in the Philippines, but mostly in the Philippines. So first, we have here the beak whale in 2015. So that's the first discovery. And Also, the Taiwan sardinella was first recorded in 2011 in the Philippines, and the Pacific bluefin tuna, we all know the Pacific bluefin tuna can be found in the northern and the temperate regions, but it was recorded in the Philippines in 2016. And we have also the Acropoma boholensis, but this one is, I think, not 2019, but around 2002, and it was discovered by a Japanese. And recently, we have the Pogi perchlet, which was found discovered in 2015. This is a new species of fish, which was named after Dr. Mujikiwi Santos. And then we have here the surgeonfish, which is in 2017, and the Noah's giant clam in 2014. Next. So aside from that, just to show you how much diversity we have, fish diversity we have in the Philippines, the rapid survey of mangrove forests in Del Carmen, which was conducted in 2019, this is a recent one. Just in the mangrove area, they identified 14 orders, which belongs to 29 families and then 48 genera and a total of 81 species. And among that, they identified 2 unknown genuses and 5 unknown species of fish. Next. So the Philippine fisheries profile. We go now to Philippine fisheries profile. So we have 3 fisheries sector. I don't know if you know this. It's usually divided into 3. The municipal, commercial, and the aquaculture. So next. Do you know the difference between commercial, municipal, fisheries? Can you click it, exam? Yeah. Okay, thanks. So we have here the commercial one is usually 15 kilometers from the shore. You can fish 15 kilometers from the shore, and your boat should only contain around less than 3 tons or equal to 3 tons of fish. While in the municipal area, it's a different one. The municipal one is 15 kilometers from the shore, while the commercial one is more than 15 kilometers from the shore. So the municipal one is 3 metric tons, equal to 3 metric tons, but not greater than 3 metric tons. And if your fish is greater than, the harvested fish is greater than 3 metric tons, it is belong to commercial fisheries now. And aside from that, the municipal one usually uses passive gear, and the commercial one uses the active gear. Next. So this one is a municipal fishing vessel. Next. And this one is the commercial one. Next. So this one is a capture fisheries producer in 2018. So I got this from FAO, and I tried to get the 2019, but I think they don't have it yet. So in here, we can see here, this is before pandemic, right? Because pandemic is 2020. So in here, we see here the top 10 producing countries in terms of capture fisheries. So Philippines is not here actually. And Indonesia is a second one here. So at least we need to produce around 7 million tons of fish to be, or 2 million tons of fish to be included in this top 10 list of capture fishery producer. Next. Although not included in the top 10, still fisheries in the Philippines provide around 2% of world fisheries production. Next. So what is our ranking from 2000 to 2016? So we have for the top fish producers, this includes the capture fisheries and for municipal and commercial fisheries. Enter. We have, in 2016, we ranked 8. And for the aquaculture, we ranked, enter, we rank 11. But for the seaweed production, specifically, we rank 3rd. So our seaweed is our top product for the fisheries in the Philippines. Next. So fisheries performance from 2010 to 2019. So we can see here, as in early 2010, we were able to produce more than 5 million tons. But it was drastically declined in 2016, as low as around 4.3% only. And now it's slowly going up in 2019. So what happened here in 2016 is that based on the publication that I have read, the effect of climate change took place and affected the Philippines in 2016. And aside from that, the economy was also affected. That's why the fishery sector was affected. And aside from that, I forgot the other reasons, but uh, those are the reasons why there is a decline in the fisheries in 2016. But now, slowly, as what I have said, it is increasing. And next. And interestingly, a number of fisher folks engaged in fishing activity in 2018. The highest is the capture fisheries, followed by others. Can you click exam? Yes, this one is the capture fisheries. Others include net mending, ice making, and then this is followed next by gleaning or collection of shells in the shore, coastal areas. Next, we have the aquaculture. So aquaculture comes fourth and then followed by fish vending and fish processing. So most of our fish processing products is either dried or frozen because we usually import it or canned. Next. So although most of the fisher folks is engaged in a capture fisheries, most of our fishery product produced comes from aquaculture. In terms of quality and in terms of quantity and value, aquaculture is more superior than capture fisheries, both for municipal and commercial fisheries. Next. But in the first quarter of 2020, so first quarter is from January to March, right? So there is a decrease in the production. So from the same 2019 first production. So the decline was about 3.2% for the capture fisheries. Next, and for the aquaculture, we have also a decline of production from 526 to only 507. So yeah, it drastically dropped. Next. Next. So major aquaculture species in the Philippines. This one is in terms of aquaculture. So what I have said, we have our top aquaculture product is seaweeds. This is followed by milkfish, or also known as chanos chanos. And then we also have here the tilapia. I think this is nilotica. And then we have shrimps and others. Next. So this one is our seaweeds, Capapaicus eucoma, and this one is the chanos chanos, and then we have here the tilapia, and then the shrimps or prawns. Next. And for marine municipal fish catch, we have the big ice cat as our major municipal fish catch. So you know what is big ice cat? I have here the photo. Can you click exam, please? One more. Yes, so this one is the big ice cat, and this is followed by an Indian sardines. Click. Yes, this one is the Indian sardines. So these are the two municipal fish catch in the Philippines. Next, major. So we have here the major marine commercial. So for the commercial, we have the skipjack. We have a lot of skipjack in the Philippines. We can catch a lot of skipjack in the Philippines. Can you enter exam? Yes, so this one is the skipjack. Next. So although Philippines is blessed with high biodiversity, Philippines also is a center of marine adversity. So we have a lot of threats. The IUU fishing, the overfishing, habitat degradation, pollution, invasive species, and climate change, etc. Next. And sadly, our fisher folks really belongs to the poorest sector in our country. Next. And the location of our country is really vulnerable to climate change impact. Next. And we have insufficient institutional system. I will not elaborate on that. Next. So we have here the IUU fishing. This is just an example. IUU means illegal, unregulated, and undocumented, right? So illegal fishing, for example, the Muroami. I don't know if you're familiar with this one. So this kind of fishing is, they pound the coral reef to draw the fish into their lines. So by doing this, they destroy the coral reef. So this is considered illegal. Next, we have here the unreported. So some vessels usually report around 77, for example, only 77 million metric tons of their catch, but they don't report additional 32 million metric tons of fish that they caught. So this belongs to the unreported one, and this will actually affect our fish stock if they report if they don't report the amount of fish they caught. Next is the unregulated fish. Example here, I have here the tuna. We know that the tuna is a migratory species, right? So in the Philippines, they have, I think this one is in General Santos part, in the Mindanao part. So they are trying to establish their the monitoring of tuna catch, because the Japanese usually what do you call that? The Japanese inform the Philippines that they do not catch the tuna fish that has the ideal size, because when the tuna comes to the Philippines, the Filipino catch it even if it is still in juvenile size. So, so that one, so it's also a problem. So there should be a regulation on the catching of tuna or other fish species in the country. Next. So they said that you cannot appreciate what you have unless you don't know how much you have lost. So we have here the graph saying how much the Philippines have. For example, our coral reef is valued at around $915 billion. And our mangrove area is around 47.92 billion, and seagrass on the other hand, and 2.83, and coastal shelf is around 533. And the total of we have around 1,500 billion US dollars of coral, mangrove, seagrass, and continental shelf. But how much we are losing because of overfishing, blast fishing, environmental degradation, and poaching and post-harvest losses? We have around 100.1 billion US dollars. We are losing around that much. Next. So our government thinks that enabled to lessen our loss, we have to acquire a fleet to monitor the IUU, and its budget is around 380 million US dollars. And also we need to upgrade our post-harvest infrastructure, including additional fish ports, ice plant, and cold storage, and develop our aquaculture program. So we need a total of around 580 million to do this, to improve the fishery in the Philippines. Next. So fishery strategies intervention was applied on coastal resource management, Next, in the capture fisheries and also aquaculture post-harvest and market and support services. So I'll go to this one by one. Next, first is the coastal resource management. So we have this program established by the government, the BASIL, or also called as Baliksigla ng mga ilog at lawa. So in Tagalog, it's like in English, it's a rehabilitation of the inland waters to increase the production of that water. So it was started in 2016. So what they do is, can you click exam? What they do is they usually profile a lake, do profiling, and then they prepare the people living near the lake for the rehabilitation, and then they will start lake rehabilitation, and then they will develop this lake. So usually they stock indigenous fish species, for example, bia or matikuno, ayus carp, tilapia, in the lake to revive the lake. So this is one of the program for coastal resource management by the government. Next. So this is just a photo that they're giving, like this one I think was tilapia. It was given to the locals in the who lives near the lakes. Next. And yeah, this one, just a photo of. Next. Still on the coastal resource management, we have here the MMK, or what is also known as Malinis at Masaganang Karagatan. This is an incentive system, which means in each area, they have like a protected areas, right? For the people to continually protect the area, the government give money as a prize. For example, if there were zero IUU fishing in their area, zero waste, and they observe fishing bonds and maintain marine reserves, and they develop their mangrove rehabilitation and protection plan, and then they will compete from each other. So they gave prize as high as 3 million for the winners, 3 million pesos, and then 18 million for the second, and third one is 10 million. And this fund will be used for their protected area management plans. Next. So this one is the poster for the 2020. They have call already for the 2021. Next. And this is just an example for the winner for the 2016, the Cortes in Siargao del Sur. So their area, they were able to produce mud crab in their area, and also the mangrove area, they were rehabilitated. And you can see here in the photo, the water is really clear. Next. So still under coastal resource management, we have the closed fishing season. So this is usually done to regulate that prohibits fishing in particular areas during spawning seasons. So it has something to do with the recruitment also. And we have here in the Philippines, for example, at the upper, let's say the violet one. So that's the one, ban of elvers. You know, elvers is a kind of eel. So it is usually banned in the northern part. And you can see here the sardinella, or small pelagic fish, is closed in, it has a closed season in Palawan, in Mindanao also, and in Davao, and in Visayan Sea. Next. So in here, we have here like when is it closed, and the schedule, because usually the sardinella is closed in Palawan from November to January, but in Davao, it is from January 1 to August 31. Next. So we have here the fishery management areas also. Next, we have, I think, 12 fishery management areas in the Philippines identified. So they monitor, in here, they usually manage fisheries as fisheries management area according to reference point, and they harvest control rules and implementation of other science-based measures. So I think the NSAP is also under this program. Next. And we have here, as what I have mentioned earlier, that to control IUU, the government plan to purchase vessels, right? Because that's the only solution they think for to lessen the impact of IUU in our country. So we have here the current number of vessels we have is only around 107. It is distributed all around the regions, but still this 107 vessels is not enough. So the plan of government is next slide, please. Yes, this is the plan of our government for the acquisition plan of the vessels. So for this year, 2020, they will allot around 10.4 billion for the acquisition of new vessels until 2024. So this plan is until 2024. And this is for IUU fishing. Next. So we have also for the capture fisheries now, we have the fabrication and development of fish aggregating devices. And I think this is from, no, I'm not sure. So in it was started in 2016. So they have deployed around 4,000 already. So you know Payao, right? It's a fish aggregating device. Next, its function is to throw the fish to this structure, and so that the fisher folks can just fish in the area. Next. So we have the FB Pagbabago program also, or the fabrication and distribution of fiberglass reinforced plastic fishing boats. And this is for the livelihood of the fisher folks also. And they also offered skills and training and also replacement of all dilapidated wooden boats and sturdier and climate-proof unsinkable boat for the fisher folks. So this is how it looks like. It usually around the color is, I think it was blue, but in the photo I don't know why it's green. So they have distributed a total of 14,000 already, almost 15,000 boats for the fisher folks. Next, for the capture, we have also livelihood assistant for the provision of other fishing gears and paraphernalia such as engines, marine engines, gill net, hand lines. So they give it to the fisher folks. Next, not give, but I think the term is award. Yeah, this one. So some engines to be used for their boats, the government usually awarded to them. Next. We have here the Philippine Fishing Boat Modernization Act also, a proposed registration drafted by B4. So we have here, this is more on upgrading of the fishing boat system in the Philippines. So next. For the aquaculture, we have 5 potential commodities for the aquaculture aside from seaweeds, so, including seaweeds. So bangus, the chanos or milkfish, and the tilapia, shrimp, shellfish also. Next. So we have, the government is on a half program for the broodstock and fingerling development. And after they develop the broodstock, they usually distribute the fingerling. They usually distribute it all over the country. Next. So example here is the bangus fry sufficiency program. So under this, they establish a satellite hatcheries to reduce the dependency of fry importation, because in the Philippines, only several regions produce bangus fry. So to lessen the import of the bangus fry from other regions, what government did is to establish a hatchery in the local area, and develop it, and then from there they usually source out the bangus fry. Next, they have legislated hatcheries also. Next. So, next. So this is Secretary Door. So this one is in Sifter, and this one is, I think, in Aklan. I got the photo from my friend. That's a hatchery from Aklan. So other than that, under aquaculture, they also established a mariculture park, and they built 300 fish cages project per region. Next. And under post-harvest, we have post-harvest. So as what I have said, they propose to have additional landing centers, and then they want to improve the refrigeration and also the ice making machines. Next. So for the marketing support and services, they established the Tienda sa B4. This one is like a mini market that the community can go to buy fish in their area. So it's like every month it roam around the different barangays within the municipality. Next. So other initiative, we have here the executive order directing the government agency and instrumentalities to facilitate the protection of 24 major fishing grounds and their environments. So in here, a lot of agencies should collaborate from each other, including Navy, Army, BFAR, DNR, LGU, Bantay Dagat, DILG, and Marina, and so on and so forth. Next. So the effect of COVID-19 on fisheries and aquaculture in Asia. So this one was published by FAO, and it's recent, like in just this May. So based on this publication, I had this information. Next. So disruption of capture fisheries livelihood during COVID-19. We all agree to that, right? Because there is a sudden not shutdown, but containment. So there is also a massive loss of jobs. And aside from that, reduction in demand and closure of major global markets stop, and it reduces the international trade in fish production. And also some border closed, and it created the gaps in domestic supplies of fish and fish products. Next. So in here, we can see here the export of fish and fishery products during first quarter of 2019. In the Philippines, we are importing around almost 7%. And it was lessened. The value is lessened by almost -3. And also import of fish was also negative. So we can, this figure shows that the importation and exportation of fish from the Philippines and from the other countries is affected by the COVID-19. Next. So what's the impact of aquaculture, of COVID-19 in aquaculture? So lockdown subjected the value chain to severe domestic and international transport. So the transport of the products is really affected, and the raw materials for processing and finished products for domestic consumption and export was also affected. Next. And the strict enforcement of restriction on the movement of materials and people, including the workers, made far inputs such as feeds and seeds unavailable. Next, so if the feeds or seeds is not available, the aquaculture cannot go on, right? Without the seed and feed, you cannot grow a fish. And aside from that, without a worker, you cannot also manage your fish farms. And small farmers suffered business loss. they are the first and the most affected by the COVID-19. And also they cannot sell their harvest because the market is affected, the import and export is affected, and the price is really low. So they cannot really gain profit from it. And there are also a significant effect of value chain actors. Of course, there's women also were affected. And those that are reliant on the export also were really affected. So, and aside from that, this graph, this image here shows that the red dot here is the commercial fishing vessels. So during COVID, only limited Philippine vessel monitor the Philippine fishing waters, but and because of this, a lot of commercial fishing vessel entered and catch fish within the Philippine area. So the dot here represent the number of illegal commercial fishing vessels area that entered the Philippines. So you can see it. So it's a lot, and I don't know where it is coming from. Next. So the coping strategies and support to other sectors for the Philippines, the Department of Agriculture, to ensure the flow of the food commodities in agriculture and fisheries product input. So they released a food lane pass, and usually they have to put it in the van or in front of their cars to see that they are traveling foods or fisheries commodity. And on the other hand, the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources initiated the Seafood Kadiwa ni Ani at Kita on Wheels. So this is like they have a modified car or tricycle, and then it's a mini market that roams around the house of people to sell fish. And then some local government have bought the catch of their small-scale fisher for inclusion of food packs distributed to families affected by enhanced community quarantine. So this one is for the fisher folks. They usually, the government distributed free food and assistance for the fisher folks families. Next. So this is the example of the food lane conduct pass of DA. And then the Kadiwa Tanya Kita, like this one from REFAR. Next. So what are the ongoing coping measures and potential adaptation strategies? So the government have allowed, while maintaining necessary precautions, the resumption of activities and services for the fisheries sectors. So this is to ensure the uninterrupted production, input availability and accessibility, and access to market, and facilitating services for the people. So government and industry have been promoting local consumption of export products that have lost their markets and have been developed online marketing platforms and assisting farmers in using them. Next. So also they provide assistance to producers and processors and exporters. This include produced price stabilization scheme and enable farmers to restock, facilitate access to the farm inputs. Next. So this is, I think, the last slide, the 5 key adaptation strategies being implemented now on COVID-19. So we have here the strength self-reliance. So in here, FAO, this report is from FAO, right? So FAO wants a country to be, to not rely on other, like in importing things. For example, we need to learn to consume our own production And the second one is encourage multi-stakeholder investment in service to farmers to lessen the effect of loss within farmers. So we need to have more multi-stakeholder investment. Next is to enhance human capital. Do you know what human capital is? So you need to, human capital is more on like, we are working as a team, so you take care of your subordinates. So not the money, but the people. Next. Introduce social protection for all. Yeah, social protection means, how can I say it in aside from protecting them like from from pandemic, you should ensure that if they they are affected by COVID-19, you should help them. You know, like you have your social responsibility to your people. Next. Lastly is enhance social capital. So in enhancing social capital, it means here that you should give to others, because in the long run, they will also help you in coping up with the COVID-19. So in enhancing social capital means looking for each other and helping also each other. So introduction, sorry, so introduce social protection and enhance social capital is almost connected to each other. Next, that's all. So thank you for listening. I hope you learned something.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Maria. It's a really good presentation, and then we know that in Indonesia we have a similar condition right now. The farmers can still grow off the fish, but the problem is getting the fish to the market because there's a lockdown, and then it makes them harder to move the fish into the market. And then we also have a similar commodities that we culture in Indonesia. You have like milkfish. We also have milkfish, and also seaweed. We know that Philippine is one of the. I think they have. I read it in a book that they Apophysis what's the species? Apophysis alvarezi.
Capophycus. Alvarezi.
From one seaweed farmers in Philippines that has a successfully grow seaweeds, and then they dedicate the name of the species into his name. Okay, we're finished the first session, so we will move out to the next session. For the Q&A, we'll combine it in the last part. So if you still have questions about fisheries and aquaculture activity in Philippines, just type it in the Q&A session. We have a Q&A. There's in your Zoom. There's like Q&A. Just write the question there, and then we will try to answer it if we have time. And for the next presentation, it will be presented by Dr. Adibi Rahman. I will read out some of his CV. So Dr. Adibi Amnur is a senior lecturer in the International Institute of Public Policy and Management, University of Malaya. His work focused on the fisheries policy, particularly the sustainability of Kapafissis seaweed commercialization among Malaysian coastal communities and the impact of this activity on their livelihood. He has over 15 years experience as a civil servant at the Department of Fisheries Malaysia. While much of his experience has been in the government sector, he has developed new skill as an interdisciplinary scientist. Dr. RDB was involved in the development of national seaweed policy. So Dr. RDB is one of the lecturers in the University of Malaya that focusing in the public policy, especially in the case of seaweed. We make it short. I will give the platforms to Dr. RDB. Dr. RDB, you can you hear me, Dr. RDB?
Yes, I can hear you.
You can share your presentation and start
Okay.
presenting your lectures.
Can you see the slide?
Yes, yes.
Right. Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Isan. First of all, good morning, afternoon, and evening to all participants. Thank you for inviting me to present a paper on the Malaysia fishery sector. So fish consumption, according to FAO, has increased more than double from 1961 to 2018, from 9 kilogram per capita to 20.5 kilogram per capita. And the total consumption globally, the highest continent is Oceania with 27.5 and Asia 25.1. So as we can see here that Asia is one of the highest consumption of fish globally. And within the Asia continent, Malaysia in 2016 to 2018 consumed 58.8 kilogram of fish per capita, and is projected to the consumption will be 57.1. And to our neighboring country, Indonesia, the average is 37.4 currently, and will increase to 43 kilogram per capita. If you can see here, the average consumption is very high for both countries as compared to the world consumption, which is at 21.3 in 2028. So the fishery sector is an important subsector in Malaysia and plays a significant role in the national economy. So it contributed to the gross domestic products at the rate of 0.9%. And in agriculture sector, it contributed to 12% of GDP. Our trade value of import and export for fisheries products is at minus 1 billion Malaysia ringgit, and the currency exchange is at 1 USD equivalent to 4.15 Malaysia ringgit or ringgit Malaysia. At the moment, our self-sufficient level is at 92.7%. The main exporting countries are Singapore. Sorry about the it's in bahasa, juta is million, and followed by China. So these are the two main exporting countries of our fish. While we import most of our fish from China at 22%, and also thank you to our neighbor Indonesia, 17.6%. So the Malaysia fishery sector consisted of three subsectors, which is aquaculture, capture fisheries, and inland fisheries. So aquaculture contributed to 22% of fish production, while capture fisheries contribute 77.7%. And lastly, in inland fisheries contributed 0.3%. So in total, the fishery sector valued at 15 Malaysia ringgit, 15 billion Malaysia ringgit. And the production is 1.87 million tons in 2019. Right. We also produce a non-food fish for human consumption, and our main production from non-fish food is from ornamental fish, which contributed at 85% of production from this sector, and aquatic plant from freshwater aquatic plant is 15%, with 52 million types of aquatic plant in 2019. And the value of this subsector is at 527 million ringgit in 2019. Right. In terms of population, Malaysia, it is projected that by 2015, the population of Malaysia people will be 40 million, 40.7 million of people. And our current supply or current fish production is at 1.9 million tons. And by 2030, we need 2.1 million tons of fish to fulfill the needs of the nation. However, driven by ocean warming, acidification, deoxygenation, and sea level rise, the maximum catch potential of tropical fish stocks in some tropical exclusive economic zones is projected to decline by up to 40% by the 2050s. And research by our scientists found that the demersal fish exploitation scenario, for the current situation, the situation is fully exploited. So if you can see from the picture, in 1970s is still green, most of the demersal fish, but currently it's all red. The status is red. According to researchers from the US and Canada, there will be no seafood by 2048. So in Malaysia, we developed the policy based on the Sustainable Development Goals. So we align our fishery sector to SDG 1, which is no poverty, 2, zero hunger, SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, SDG 12, responsible consumption and production, SDG 13, climate change, SDG 14, life below water, and SDG 15, life on land. Malaysia participated at high-level political forums such as Coral Triangle Initiative. Secondly, enhancing South-South cooperation for capacity building in science toward economic resilience to natural shocks in the Pacific and Southeast Asia. Eradicating fish bombing in Sabah by 2020. So Sabah is part of Malaysia, located at the East Malaysia. Fourth, International Hydrographic Organization, or IHO, on hydrography capacity building program for coastal states. Fifth, promoting South-South cooperation through climate change education in Asia-Pacific small island developing states. Sixth, national policy on biodiversity, on biological diversity 2016 to 2025. And every 5 years, we will establish a Malaysia plan, which is under National Agri-Food Policy. And the fisheries governance in Malaysia is governed by the federal level at the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries, or MAFI, which legislate, plan and implement development programs, policies and strategy. Under this ministry, two departments or agencies will involve with the fisheries policy, which is Department of Fisheries Malaysia is a regulator and implementer for policy, law and enforcement. And we have Fisheries Development Authority of Malaysia, or LKIM in Malay, which concentrate on the fishers community and also the small landing fisheries port. So Malaysia consists of East Malaysia or Peninsula and also West Malaysia at Borneo Island. So we are fortunate that we were blessed with 4,049 coastal area at West Malaysia and East Malaysia. So West Malaysia has shortened coastal area as compared to East Malaysia. Our internal waters is 97,000 square kilometer, whereby and our territorial water is 63,000 square kilometer, and the EEZ or exclusive economic zone is 453,000 square kilometer, and land and sea ratio is at 1:2 ratio. Now we go to our first subsector, which is capture fisheries. So the marine capture fisheries can be categorized into two main types, namely coastal or inshore fisheries and deep sea fisheries. So inshore fisheries consists of zone A, B, and C. Zone A is at 0 to 5 nautical mile. Zone B will operate at 5 to 12 nautical mile, and Zone C will operate at 12 to 13 nautical mile. And we have a deep sea fisheries consisted of Zone C2 and C3. So Zone C2 will operate at 30 nautical mile to EEZ boundary, and Zone C will operate at high seas or international water body. So if you can see here, capture fisheries from in 2018 versus 2019, there was an decrease in quantity and values for inshore fisheries. So inshore fisheries contributed 82% of fish production from capture fisheries, while deep sea fisheries has an increase in quantity and value. However, it contributed only 80% of fish production from capture fisheries. And the value of capture fishery is at 11 billion ringgit. So Zone A, how the government regulate the capture fishery is according to the ship weight or gross registered tonnage. Is a measurement of ship weight. So Zone A will operated near to the shore, B is second, C, and C3 operated at international body. And C3 is a deep sea commercial vessel, C2 deep sea commercial vessel as well. And the traditional is at the inshore fisheries. So the main marine capture fishing area located at the West Coast Peninsula or facing Straits of Malacca, neighboring with Indonesia. At 50% of fish production comes from this area. Secondly, East Coast Peninsula, facing South China Sea and contribute 24% of fish production, while Sabah, Sarawak, and Labuan contribute at 30%, 10%, and 2% of fish production from capture fisheries. So there are 4 main fishing ports in Malaysia, three located at the peninsula and 1 located at East Malaysia. So the 3 main ports in peninsula is Tok Bali in Kelantan, Kuantan, Pahang, and also MITP. MITP stand for Malaysia International Tuna Port in Penang. And we have Tanjung Manis Port in Sarawak. So industry summary for Zone A, we have 42,000 of small fishermen. 75% of people, of fishermen at this zone, and type of fishing gears is traditional, anchovy, porcine. For Zone B, we have 5,000 vessels with the number of fishers at 10,000, and type of fishing gears used porcine, trout, and kenka or Apollo. For Zone C, we have 2,000 vessels with 20,000 fishers, and they use traditional porcine and trout fishing gear. For Zones C2 and C3, we have only 559 vessels with 10,000 of fishers. Type of fishing gears use traditional porcine, trout, and hook and line. So type of catches from capture fisheries consist of pelagic, demersal, and tuna fish. Now we move to the second subsector of fisheries, which is aquaculture. So aquaculture consists of freshwater aquaculture, brackish water and marine aquaculture, seaweed aquaculture, ornamental fish, and aquatic plant. So in 2018 versus 2019, there was an increase by quantity in 2019, 5.19%, and increase in value by 8.1% compared to 2018. So in terms of quantity, seaweed produced the largest but the lowest value, whereby brackish water and marine produce the highest value of fish products for aquaculture. So freshwater aquaculture derived from tilapia farming, catfish farming in cage and also in pond. For brackish water and marine aquaculture, we produce sea bass and also red snapper, cobia, and shrimp in the pond system. Then we have seaweed aquaculture. We are the number 3 largest producer after Indonesia and the Philippines. Produce Carpophacus alvarazi and also Eucuma denticulatum. Currently, I developed or I initiated a seaweed cultivation project in Peninsula to farm Gracilaria in the pond. At the moment, our main producing area for seaweed located in Sabah, which is at the on the Borneo Island, neighboring with the Philippines, especially the southern Philippines. So our contribution of aquaculture also come from ornamental fish and aquatic plant. So we are very fortunate that our area or our water body can produce arowana seedling. So arowana is a fish that be bought by the hobbies So they put this fish at the office or at their home for good life as a feng shui. So we export this arowana to country like Japan, to Europe, and also to some to Indonesia. So the industry summary for aquaculture. So freshwater operated at 6,161 hectare with the number of aquaculturists at 15,000. Brackish water and marine aquaculture operated at 28,000 hectares area with the number of farmers 4,474. For ornamental fish and aquatic plant operated at 829 hectare areas with number of aquaculturists 680 people, while seaweed operated at 9,836 hectare with the number of aquaculturists or seaweed farmers 1,208 farmers. Our last subsector for aquaculture is for fisheries is inland fisheries. We have number of fishes of 3,205 and the production from inland fisheries at 5,600 tons per year in 2019 with a value of 19 million ringgit. So the production comes from rivers, mining pools, dams, lake, and others. So type of fish from inland fishery sector, we have Hampala barb, we have Marshall, genus Tor, we have red Marshall, silver Marshall, blue Marshall, and we have Julius golden carp, 7-street barb, 7-line barb. We have helicopter catfish or Walago catfish. So these are some example of fish from inland fishery sector. Despite this opportunity, we also have challenges in fishery sector. Challenges in terms of deterioration of resources and ecosystem, incursion or encroachment of fishing areas within national water body and international borders, deep sea fishing and tuna that have not been fully explored, dependence on foreign workers, lack of fisheries infrastructure facilities such as fishing port, access road, etc., conflicts of land use, development in island and coastal areas, acts and regulations need to be improved, aquaculture production costs are expensive, low productivity and income of the target group, non-compliance issues on biosecurity, trade rules and obligation of international instruments, and also climate change. So my colleague, Dr. Maria also explained about the impact of COVID-19 on the fishery sector. We Malaysia also feel the impact too. And for example, in terms like Dr. Isan said, now like the fishes they cannot sell their fish to the market. So what happened now in Malaysia that even though the government gave agriculture or fisheries as essential service and permit them to operate during MCO or movement control order. However, limited supply of seedling or inputs. If we import the material or the input, then the fishers or the farmers, they cannot get in time. So now, like some of the traders that sell online through social media, they also initiate their own delivery to the housing areas, to the community. Now it's more at the shifting in domestic market where people disseminate or share information about who is the supplier that can supply fresh fish from the jetty, from the sea. because now the border has been closed, and most of the workers in the capture fisheries or in the aquaculture, they rely on the foreign workers. So now they cannot hire foreign workers, and a very limited number of local people who want to work in this sector. Right. The government also formulated a fisheries policy in the 12th Malaysia Plan, beginning 2021 to 2025. And they use the shared prosperity vision and enablers as their pillars of this policy. And the proposed key economic growth activities for fisheries will concentrate on the key economic growth activities number 9, which is coastal and maritime economy. Key economic growth area 12, green economy, and key economic growth area 13, smart and high value agriculture. So the pillar of the 12th Malaysia Plan based on the economic empowerment, growth drivers and enablers, ecosystem and imperative. Secondly, environment sustainability that take care or take account of conservation and preservation, and social re-engineering, which enhancing social capital, inclusivity and social cohesion. So the strategic direction for fisheries sector, driving modernization in fisheries, accelerate modern technology application by using Industry Revolution 4.0 or Internet of Things, optimize farm size for productivity, establish efficient fisheries value chain system, strengthen targeted fisheries produce, ensuring clean, green, and resilient development through a whole of nation approach by implementing a low carbon, clean, and resilient development for environmental sustainability, managing natural resources efficiently to safeguard natural capital, and strengthening the enabling environment for effective management. So the way forward for the fishery sector based on the 12th Malaysia Plan is to increase the production so that we can supply enough food for the local demand. So we want to increase the average annual growth rate from 0.02% to 3%, and the production level from 1.9 million metric ton to 2.1%, and self-sufficient level 92% to 95%. So we are hoping that by 2025 we can produce 70% of fish from capture fisheries and 30% from aquaculture. And by 2030, hopefully we can reduce the pressure of our natural resources to 50% and increase the aquaculture production to 50%. And the main focus area in fishery sector by the government is number 1, monitoring, control and surveillance, increase investment in the deep sea fishery sector, develop tuna industry including processing, seaweed aquaculture, which has the lowest value now, to high value products, prioritize aquaculture sector, research and development, development of artificial reef, conservation and resource management, food safety, local international collaboration, and human capital development. And in order to achieve the sustainable development that taking care of ecological well-being and human being, we need a good governance and good policy for future generation. With that, I thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Adibi, for the presentation. It's interesting that one of the common in the Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia is a seaweed, and all the countries is seaweed is considered as one important commodities in their fisheries and aquaculture. We have some questions from the audience, and I will try to read them. Hopefully, we can answer it and in this Q&A session. So the first questions is from one of the students. She want to ask about the seaweed as a major commodity in Philippines and Malaysia. And the question is, what's the thing that can be be a threat to the seaweed cultures in the Malaysia and the Philippines, and then what Malaysia and Philippines do to mitigate the effect of climate change in seaweed culture and in general in fisheries sector. Maybe we can try to answer that first, and then we go on to the next questions. Who want to answer first? Maybe Dr. Maria.
Okay. For the first question, we have what are the factors that are affecting seaweed culture, right? So in the Philippines, based on our research, because this one is the one I read recently. Based on our research, in my island, there is an insufficient supply of they call it planters, right? The main seaweed that they usually use for in growing seaweeds. So they call it planters. So based on our genetic analysis, the planters here in my area is not that genetically distant. So this has a problem because it usually have the farmers have less harvest. And aside from that, the diseases, because of the climate change also, the occurrence of disease, we have actually surveyed it in our research. The occurrence of disease for seaweeds is happening frequently than before. So we identified at least 12 diseases occurring within annually. And these are monitored in each area in my island. So next question is, what are the mitigating factors? Yeah.
Effort to
Yeah. So we have recommended there that in my area they should have a local hatchery that produce the planters of the seaweeds. And aside from that, all seaweeds, because now we have a lot of seaweed species that we identified here in my area. So we need to subject them in the genetic to analyze if some of them might also be potential for production, not only one species. So we should have another species to cultivate so that we don't rely on only one species to produce seaweeds. And aside from that, establishment of local hatcheries and more research on the planters, we should also identify sites that is really suitable for seaweed farming, because some seaweed farms in my area is also in the coral reef area. So that's a problem also with the community. So yeah, that's I think I can only recommend two.
Okay. Okay. How about Malaysia, Dr. Adibi?
So for Malaysia, it's interesting is that the government is using seaweed aquaculture or seaweed industry as a economic programs for poor people, coastal communities, and so have to convince to the government that seaweed has a potential even though they have a like in Malaysia, we have a threat in this industry in terms of low prices, fluctuated prices, and also predation and diseases, and low productivity of seaweed farming. But in terms of the benefit of the seaweed to the environment and also to the health of the people, because of the property that have in seaweed. So seaweed actually has a potential, but sadly the seaweed is categorized as a commodity. So you cannot consume, like our species, we cannot consume directly like nori or porphyra that has a higher value. So we have to sell at lowest price to the processor, and then the processor has to sell it to the global market in form of carrageenan as a commodity. So that's why we don't have a voice to demand a higher price for the farmers. So that's why even though seaweed contribute to the statistic in terms of the weight or quantity, but seaweed actually has a potential because our tropical seaweed have a different properties compared to the temperate species. So currently, like we focus on to explore what is the content of the properties in our seaweed. For example, we found that Eucuma denticulatum have the potential for anti-obesity and anti-diabetic um, uh, for person that have that consume that seaweed. It will reduce, not reduce the weight. It's for the, because it supply the fiber, so you feel full when you consume the seaweed. So we like, for us in Malaysia, we convince the private sector to invest in this processing, produce a product in terms of functional food or pharmaceutical products. Like even the threat of the seaweed, I think quite similar in the Philippines, in Indonesia. We have the similar problem because we farm the seaweed at the coral triangle areas. So we have the same people, like the people who live at the state house or on the island, that dry the seaweed on at the sea or on the mainland, that wait for the buyer to come and pick up the seaweed and just accept the price. So we have the same problem. So in terms of climate, to how to mitigate the climate change, we also initiate the same program like in the Philippines. Like we want to do a tissue culture. We already started a tissue culture to produce the seedling or the planter that is a disease resistant, like high temperature, resistant to the environment, to the change of the environment, that can adapt very well with the changes of the climate change. So I think that's the least we can do at the moment. The rest, in terms of the social aspect, we have to always like sit down with the farmers, motivate them, share with them new information so that they will continue do this activity. Because in Malaysia, we found that we have a low uptake of this seaweed farming among the young generation. So most of our farmers is more than 50 years old, and they said that I cannot produce more seaweed because I'm old. I have a lot of diseases. I have a body ache. It's too hot for me, too difficult for me to do it. So that's from me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right about the how the farmers doesn't really have a voice in bargaining the price, because it's also problems in Indonesia. The government really like to develop the seaweed, but when they develop in the area, the price usually is not as high as expected, and then the farmers feel like being cheated, and then they just like abandon the seaweed culture. This is also problems that persist in Indonesia. Okay, moving on. In case of seaweed, we have several questions also from Maria Agustina Pardede. She asked about technology, current technology that was applied for the seaweed in Philippines and Malaysia. And then also she asked about the implementation of polyculture between fish and seaweed. I mean, we heard about polyculture, but is it already applied in the commercial scale? That's the question, right? That's the golden questions. And then the last, what can you see the future of and prospect of the commodities in the case of seaweed in the 4.0 revolution area? Maybe it's about implementation of 4.0 in the case of seaweed culture and fisheries and aquaculture. Maybe who want to answer first?
Sorry. Is it me? Okay. Okay. There is already a farm in Cebu, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It's in Cebu that they actually tried 2 crops of IMTA already for the combination of seaweeds, Holutoria, Scabra, yeah,
Yes.
and I think it was bangus.
Bagus
Yeah,
is a fish, right?
yeah, milkfish. Sorry. So, but I'm not sure how much they got from that one, but I think the seaweed was all right. They had a good harvest for the seaweed also. What was the other question for what?
How about the application of current technologies in the seaweed culture?
Current technologies for the seaweed culture. She means the IMTA, right?
No, I mean like new sophisticated technology
If
that
there's a
yeah.
so far, based on the publication of Dr. Largo, he is a specialist in the seaweed in the Philippines from Cebu also. So far, none. But they're developing some strain with the collaboration from the US
Okay.
in their university.
So it's like developing strain as if like
Yeah,
study in molecular or just like
they have already produced, I think, and they are pilot testing it if it is really a good strain or not.
okay.
Pilot testing it in the field farms. So next question, last question was what? Sorry, I cannot.
Uh, the development of 4.0 technology.
Aquaculture business, so something. Yeah. From the report of FAO, I read there that in China, they have actually improved their IT system and to also improve their marketing system. They actually encourage local fisher folks to register online their businesses, whether it's a small or large businesses, and then uh, uh, they will connect it to other consumers, higher consumers like restaurants and local importers, so that they can sell their product fast and with reasonable price. So I think in the Philippines also we should do the same. Like we should improve our IT system and marketing system so that we can help our fisher folks.
Okay. Yeah, I think in case of technology similar to Indonesia, we don't really have any recent technology in seaweed culture. Just like put it in the water and then just let it grow. But hopefully in the near future, we can see something that, I mean, it's not that there are no recent technology. It's just like the technology for go out, it's still similar, but for like developing the seedlings and other thing, it's the recent one is in that area. Okay, how about in Malaysia, Dr. Adib? Do you have any like?
Yeah, like in Malaysia, like commercial IMTA has not been established yet between seaweed and other species. Um, unless the private sector come into this industry and then do it. We have two type of system. We have one open system and another one is on land. So on land or land-based seaweed farming or seaweed aquaculture, you can do integration like what we are doing now. We are like, I think Indonesia and the Philippines, they already have done this IMTA in for gracilaria farming between shrimp and also milk fish. Currently, I work with one of the private company to develop land-based aquaculture between Kolapa or sea grapes and with marine species such as bivalve and also with fish. So we started using the existing facilities because this company produce shrimp, and then we put a seaweed and then we monitor the growth and uh, like the management of the pond because they will operate at the commercial level. So they have to think how to harvest the seaweed or how to harvest the fish together in one pond and how to do the maintenance, which species is suitable for this both all species in one system so that they don't disturb each other or they don't affect each other. So for I think integration is a way forward for seaweed aquaculture in order to increase income of the farmers, because if you just wait for 45 days to harvest seaweed without doing other thing or without getting any income from the same system that you use, then the income for that household is very low, so it will not solve their poverty problem. Second question in terms of the uh, I technology, is it technology in seaweed?
In seaweed or in aquaculture application?
In aquaculture, they are talking for example in marine shrimp, we are talking about bioflocs. They are using bioflog farm in the pond system. They are using bioflog system to avoid the EMS disease or white spot disease. For some of the farmers, they use drone to monitor the farm. Some of the farmers using like remote sensing technology to monitor the water quality. This is mostly by the private sector. And for the small scale farmers, they just get the good quality seedling from the private hatchery or government hatchery that produce like super growth seedling. And for IR 4.0 for seaweed. So I was thinking that for seaweed, what they can do is that because seaweed, the production, it depends on the area. Like Dr. Maria said, even though you have like 1 million hectares of sea area, not all can be farmed with seaweed or suitable for seaweed farming. Because of the wind direction, because of seasonality, because of the production cycle. So some area can produce 2 cycles per year. Some areas can produce until 8 cycles per year. So by using GIS, you can determine the suitable place, and then you can advise to the farmers when can you farm the seaweed, when is the best season, when is the worst season. So this is to mitigate or anticipate the production so that the farmers can be ready with their preparation in facing this situation. So I think by using GIS, it will help, and I think we can get the data and do this. It just whether who want to do it. Is it the government or the private sector? So that's the question.
Yeah, I think some startup company are also already starting to use that kind of technology, then implementing in aquaculture. But for now, it's still in the early stage, so we'll see about the development of that technology. Okay, we'll move on to the next questions. It's a question from Dr. Umi Zakia from Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science of Brawijaya University. The question is what fishery and aquaculture sector is most impacted by the pandemic COVID-19? And then what factors are more affected in fishery products in Philippines and Malaysia? Is it the anthropogenic activity, the global warming or pollution, or the how the government manage that? Okay, hope it's make. Yeah, that's good. For the first question, Dr. Maria, about the what sector in aquaculture and fisheries that most impacted by the pandemic COVID-19?
For the Philippine setting, I think it's both the capture and aquaculture sector. Uh, in quantity, it's aquaculture. In value, it's the capture. Because we all know that the capture fisheries is harvesting high valued species, but now they cannot have harvest as many as before, right? So in terms of what climate change effect, right? Which is affect the
Yes. What factor is more main of factors for the climate change in the Philippines and Malaysia? Which more prominent? Is it the anthropogenic activity, the global warming, the pollution?
In the Philippines, it's in my lecture also. I have also mentioned there that in 2016 we had a decline in our catch, right? So it's mainly because of climate change also. And aside from that, this is combined also with the amount of blast fishing, as also presented in my presentation. So we also lost a lot because in blast fishing, the coral reefs are being destroyed. So, and what was the last? Sorry.
I think that's the last questions.
Oh, okay.
So how about in Malaysia, Dr. Adivi?
In Malaysia, species like the export products from capture and aquaculture were affected by pandemic because of they cannot export and they have to sell locally. So species, for example, in aquaculture, we produce a lot from marine aquaculture, marine shrimp aquaculture, and for capture fisheries, various fish from pelagic and demersal. And the main factor that affected the fishery sector in Malaysia for capture fisheries is beside climate change, is destructive fishing from the boat using trawl net. So now the government try to formulate a policy and try to amend the law to ban the trawl net for the inshore fisheries. However, it have to because we need a political will to get the support from the public, from the industry on this initiative. So far, we managed to reduce the ban of trawl net, which completely destroy the reef areas, habitat for the fish. So at the moment, the policy is to replace these destructive gears with more environmentally friendly gears. For we also have a problem with blast fishing, especially in Sabah, at the coral area, and also in terms of the coordination of the government institution that govern the marine or ocean area. So they need better coordination so that they can better manage the industry or the communities along the area. Yeah.
Okay. So I think in the case of Indonesia, like 5 years ago, there's like a, I won't say it's controversy, but our ministry make a policy that there's no zero tolerance for transshippings and IUI. That brings a good and bad sides, because in the good sides we manage to reduce illegal fishings and all the things, but in the bad sides, the transshipment is also supporting the export of the several commodities, especially marine aquaculture, like groupers to China. So if you stop this transshipment, then we also stop the export activity to the China, and that's why the marine aquaculture in Indonesia is kind of like decline right now, and then we're trying to uh, uh, grow it again. The good thing, the good thing is we managed to reduce the illegal activity in fisheries. Okay, I think we will go to the next questions.
Ehsan, I'm so sorry, but I have to leave for another meeting. Is it okay if you email me the question and
Oh
then
yeah,
I will reply?
okay. Yes, we also have this. So, Dr. Adibi, thank you for your participation. If
Yeah.
the participant want to ask some question, we will just like email you later on.
Yes, please. Yeah. I'm so sorry and good luck to all. Enjoy your course. Bye. Have a good day.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks, Adibi.
Sama.
Thank you.
Welcome. Bye.
So yeah, that's the thing about online Zoom seminars, because we sometimes have like one or two seminar at once. But I think we will go to the last questions, because we also have like a limited time. The last questions is about controversy, Carrigan controversy last 2016 and 2018. So it's question from C Garces. What is your stand about the Carrigan controversy last 2016 and 2018, and whether you were able to do research about long-term exposure to increasing level of carrageenan in human diet? Thank you so much. Maybe you need to explain more about this controversy, because I'm not really familiar about this thing. Okay, Dr. Maria. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, same with you, Iksan. I'm not also familiar with that one, but um, I think it has something to do also with that the one mentioned earlier by Dr. Adil.
Adibi, yeah.
Adil, it has something to do with the effect on the losing of weight of people, I think.
Okay.
But
So,
I'm not sure. I'm not really familiar. Like, I don't know what's the level that is really affect the weight of the people, or it has really negative effect on the people. Don't have idea on that one. In my part, our research is now is focused on mitigating the effect of the climate change on the seaweed culture here in my area. But hopefully, if we can get funding from other agencies, we can look into the other use of seaweeds because maybe it could be source of medicine or what. And actually, in my town, we usually eat seaweed in pickled form. I don't know in
Is
other
it
countries.
kap?
Yeah, they usually add like, yeah,
Oh,
we
really?
have
Okay,
the
I didn't know
pickled
that.
one. Yeah, but I'm not sure in other country how they do it because we usually see it as paste, right?
Mm. Usually we eat the kolarpa one,
Yeah, yeah, we also have that one, the color one.
but not the. Maybe we should try. I mean, we eat it as a. It's kind of like uh, ice cream, more like dessert. We add it to the,
Yeah,
but we never eat it like as a salad or something. We should try
yeah.
it.
We usually consume that one. But I only tasted it once or twice. I prefer the grape one.
Okay. So I don't know if it answered the questions, but if you want more details and if it's something that also happened in Indonesia, you can ask through our Google Classroom especially in the topics of aquatic products, because we have some also lecturers who also specialize in development of aquatic products from the like seaweed and all things. Maybe uh, he or she can explain more about this controversy. Uh, I think we we don't have time right now, but don't be worried. If you have questions, just ask through our Google Classrooms, and we'll try to answer it or find somebody who can answer it, and then we will type the answer in the Google Classroom. So uh, don't worry. And then before I end this session, I would like to also remind you that we have some pullings for the next class. We have elective class, so you have like 5 topics you choose, and then you can only join one topics, but at the end of the summer course, you will have recording of all topics. So please choose which class do you want to prefer, which topic you want to watch, and then please make sure to join at the correct schedule, because we have a different schedule depending on the availability of the lecturers. And then I also have a second announcement about the Ocean Leadership Competition. It's a competition for people who join this summer course, and then we have a prize for around 1 million Indonesian rupiah. It's probably around $60, and we have like 3 winners. So each winners will have $60 US dollars. And you can see more the detail of the information about the competition in the Google Classroom. And the deadline will be in the October 5th, 2000. So please join if you can. It's not a compulsory, but well, I mean, it's $60. And the competition can only entered by student. So I'm sorry for all the lecturers who joined the summer class, but I think it's not fair if the lecturers can join it also, because I mean, it's not fair if Dr. Vita who will get the prize from it. So it's for student, mainly undergrad students. So please, if you want to participate or you want to more questions about the competition, please ask in the Google Classrooms. Uh, Maybe that's all for today. I would like to say thank you to Dr. Maria for the opportunity to join us here and then sharing interesting topics about fisheries and aquaculture in uh, in Philippines. And also thank you for the participant who still follow our summer course. And at the end, if you don't worry about the attendance sheet, at the end of this summer course, we'll have the links for the attendance sheets. So if you want, please, if you cannot make it for the previous class, please just watch the recording and then just sign on the attendance sheet. Okay, maybe that's all from me. Dr. Vita, do you have any more announcement or something else?
No, but I'd like to say thanks as well to the attendees who stay still in the attendees room right now. I hope you also can follow all this lecture well, and so the information that gain from this session can broaden and deepen your insight. Maybe that's all from me, Pak Iksan. I think,
Okay.
yeah, it's already like late 15 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. So the next session will be held at October 5th, and then it's elective. So you need to choose one class. The pooling will be in or Google Classroom. Please choose one and then see the schedule when the class will be start. Thank you very much. Have a nice day and stay healthy. Goodbye.
See you. Bye. See you
Bye-bye.
all. Thank you. Thank you,
You.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye. Have a blessed day.